Been here back out of the sawmill. Today's cleanup day. You see, I got all my slab wood cleaned up. I have my sawmill tucked in underneath the roof. I dug out most of the sawdust off the thing. Might need a little bit of dusting to get a little more of it cleaned off. But you can see the sawmill actually sits on the concrete sonotubes. You know, it sits up off the ground. It's just, it gets buried in sawdust. I had sawdust, you know, mounded up to here somewhere, you know, and it was getting to the point that I was actually burying this track. And the wheels ride right on the edge of this, and it was actually starting to clog the sawmill up. So I stopped what I was doing, cleaned it all up, and got it all cleaned out. Now I've got a good clean spot set up for the next time I start milling. I've got a couple of cherry logs sitting there ready to get cut up, and I've still got my pile of slab wood. I'm going to sit and clean up all my slab wood. I've decided, I posted a video a little bit ago and I've asked everybody what they thought about what I should do with my slab wood, and I've got great comments coming in from that. I have all kinds of ideas, you know, different ways of bundling it, different people that might be interested in it. I did post it on Craigslist, and I'm more willing to almost give it to people that are looking to use it for woodworking projects. If there's somebody out there that wants to do crafts or you know, some type of wood turning or something of that nature, I'll give it to them very cheap, because I'd rather see somebody use it for a hobby that's enjoying woodworking than have it go towards firewood. Now, with that being said, I think that most of the oak and stuff is going to just end up firewood. So I have a split decision. I gave the options were cut it all up, put it on a pallet, sell it the way it is, or burn it. Well, burning it is out of the option. I'm going to burn most of my pine, the softwood. That'll all get burned up. But I'm going to keep that for camp wood, so that we sit out back, have a nice fire, and have a good time and burn some of the softwood up. The hardwood I'm going to cut and stack it on a pallet so that we can use that to sell for firewood. I'm going to put it on skids and store it here on the property. I'm going to put a tarp over it, and I'll wait a year for it to dry out so it's not green, and then I can post it on Craigslist for, you know, seasoned firewood and get a few dollars back out of it to recoup for gas money and for saw blades. And the lumber that I think might be valuable to some people, I'm going to try to put to the side and save it. I'll post it on Craigslist for wood turning projects, craft projects, and if I get any kind of response, if anybody's interested in it, I'll sell it real cheap. You know, that way I'd rather see it be used for that purpose than any other. Just a little side note too, while we're talking about lumber, and you know, a lot of people say that I waste some of the slabs. When I cut my wood, if I find a piece of wood that I think is valuable or worth saving, I put it in underneath the roof here by my sawmill. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Probably gonna be a little dark in here, but let's try this. You can see I have all these scraps that are sitting in here. You know, everything from white oak, pine, pieces of walnut. Even this slab of walnut is just a nice piece of walnut that I think I might be able to use maybe for a wood turning project myself even. That's a piece of maple. That is another piece of oak. That's a nice wide slab, but it's just kind of ugly. You know, there's a big knot here and there's a big knot there, but that's a nice piece of white oak there. I've got some pieces of walnut. That's a nice piece of walnut, but I cut it a little thin, but that was what was left to get a 1-inch board, so that's a 3/4 inch piece of walnut. There's another piece of walnut. It looks nice on this side, but as you see on this side, it's all the outer white wood. It's really none of the heartwood that's dark. So I have that here, and there's just all kinds of different pieces of wood here. As I go, if I cut a piece of wood and I think it might be worth something to somebody, I kind of save it. I'm kind of like a wood junkie, a wood hoarder, if you would. This is pine. I think this kind of stuff make nice projects. You know, you could write a sign, put somebody's name in there, or a campsite or something, and that makes a nice piece of wood for a sign. Some oak, red oak. You see the red color in that stuff? You know, and some of these are so tall they're almost hitting the ceiling. This is a piece of cherry. So I've got cherry, I've got oak, I've got walnut, I've got pine. I've got a variety of different wood that's just stacked here by the sawmill, and all of this is just slab wood basically garbage. It's not really garbage, but it's just stuff that I figure I'm not sure if I'll ever use it or not. Eventually, I'm gonna need somewhere else to store the stuff, but for now, that's where I've got all my offcuts, you know. So I'm not really wasting any wood. I'm enjoying cutting all this stuff, and it's really, you know, some nice lumber for some projects. Okay, back to the job at hand today. I've got my sawmill cleaned up, and now I've got all the slab wood. I'm going to put the buzzsaw out here and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to do some video, and then I'm going to do the rest of it is going to be time-lapsed. We'll see if I can get this whole pile of wood either separated or cut up. So stay tuned for that. Just to show that I am listening and I do appreciate all the comments, one of the comments I had was, on this buzzsaw, mark off my 16 inches. So what I'm going to do, how do you like my tape measure? I broke my tape measure. I need a new tape measure. You want to send me a new tape measure? Making do with what I got here. I got it snagged. I got my tape measure snagged on the side of the pile when I was coming around. It ripped on me. But anyway, here's what I've got handy here. I'm going to take and measure off the 16 inches. There is a line here. Somebody had marked this at a foot one time. But 16 inches, I'm going to just mark that. I did a couple different things here. I've got 3 different pallets. I got this one here is all thin wood. This is all what I'm considering kindling, you know. You want to start your fire up, you can take this in the house and take a hatchet and split this stuff up, and it makes some really nice starter wood. You know, it's something thin and easy to start a fire with. One of the neighbors that I have here helping me out a little bit, he comes around and helps me, got me some logs, and he's been a family friend for a long time, but he has a wood stove and he's always looking for some kindling, so I figured, hey, if I can put that on a separate pallet and give that pallet to him, he'd be happy with it. So that's what I did there. And here's the other 2 pallets I got. The one on the right is the full 4 foot, and the one on the left is where the saw quit on me. I didn't have a chance to finish that one. So that's all I really got out of all that wood, is those 2 pallets, that little pallet there, and you know, what's left of that wood over there. That's it.